Two Point Hospital is about building the most profitable and efficient hospital. This does not mean taking care of our patients. In the first hour, we are given charge of hog sport. In this hospital, we are taught the basics of placing rooms and hiring staff. In Two Point Hospital, we have doctors, nurses, assistants, and janitors to take care of people. Doctors and nurses can be trained in a variety of skills to diagnose and treat patients. Assistants help direct and market to customers. Meanwhile, janitors clean up after customers and fix or upgrade our machines. Yes, you saw right. Janitors can capture ghosts. That means all of the Ghostbusters movie was about fucking janitors who work at a hospital. Two Point Hospital is all about extracting as much wealth as you can out of your customers while making them be patient patients. It reminds me of a story by my brother who worked as a nurse at a Southwest hospital. He was working as one of the only nurses where there was 3 simultaneous crises at once. A woman with massive bacteria invasion of her intestines causing uncontrollable shitting, an elderly man whose blood vessels had grown into his piss-soaked towels on his lap, and an overbearing husband verbally assaulting all the nurses in the waiting room. They all paid an amazing toll to the hospital in flesh and cash. I'll tell this story in a sec. Let's get back to the game. The game starts out a bit slow, teaching you fundamentals even a 6-year-old could do. However, this is because the game does have a lot of hidden intricacies. Staff can be trained to be badasses in their field, but all staff are pre-generated trash, so you are on the lookout for candidates who you can train later on in the 4th hospital. In the meantime, you look out for what you can make use of and ignoring their extra qualifications that don't benefit you, but you do pay for. It's kind of like Carol from accounting. She is a SharePoint expert who wants to be in IT, but can't do the job of any office professional like diagnosing why a hard drive or RAM failed. So logically, she gets promoted to be the manager of the IT department under people who can do that job. Our 3rd hospital is Flottering. It is where we really start getting into the interesting mechanics of Two Point Hospital. Training your staff to be a well-oiled machine that works together is a lot of fun. Almost all of the processes in Two Point Hospital follow a unique path. So you have to make sure your staff are covering every avenue of customer support so you can get that sweet, sweet cash. For example, your doctors and nurses will need a variety of diagnosis and treatment skills. The general practice doctor is the first stop in every hospital. They then direct patients, to another diagnosis room or treatment room. If a patient gets treated, they pay the hospital that sweet, sweet cash and leave. If they need more diagnosis for a disease, they go to other rooms and then return to the general practitioner doctor for another round of whack that disease. This repeats until a doctor cannot diagnose anymore or the patient, gets treated. So you have to train your doctors and nurses to support the right amount of diagnosis so that they can treat the customers. But this is not the end of the process. Your machines need to be upgraded by your janitors to have the right amount of treatment power. This can take some time, especially if you have a lot of rooms that treat the same disease. This means you have to balance upgrading, training staff, and having the right amount of rooms that do not bankrupt your hospital. It's kind of like that story I promised to tell you about my brother in the Southwestern Hell Hospital. His service was during 2020, the hell that was COVID. Administrative staff would leave him high and dry to deal with incoming patients. His fellow nurses left the old man screaming of piss-soaked towels in a room by himself for hours. For fucking hours. Imagine being 80 and blind and screaming because your legs feel like they are on fire from the ammonia of your own piss burning into your subdermis and blood vessels. Good fucking times. He was running back and forth between waiting room to check status of patients and bacteria-infected C. diff woman who was taking off her shit-soaked panties because she felt dirty. But in the process was infecting the whole room with C. diff bacteria, which is incredibly infectious in a hospital setting. In between trying to check on her and the waiting room for critical patients, the old man is screaming because of his ammonia-soaked towels burning him from his own urine. It's a symphony of chaos and pain. He is the conductor of soothing, and no one is trying to help him. This is Two Point Hospital. Make it work. You get paid good money, right, brother? Back to the game, though. At hour 4, we get to the teaching hospital called Mitten. This place is awesome. You have to train all of your staff from the ground up. While we start with completely incompetent student doctors and nurses, We can dedicate 100% of their skill roster to what they need to be good at. Mitten also rewards you with training funds each time we train someone. This rewards you for setting up a teacher-student system. This is where you train one person and then have that person train everyone else as they advance. My brother went to a different teaching hospital that was also in the Southwest. There he was commanded to work 20-hour days amidst freak winter storms. All of his co-workers would disappear on him at night. The only company he had was an old man that was threatening constantly that he would get up from his bed. This old man was a huge fall risk and would have spelled major trouble for my brother if he did fall. The old fuck did not know or care. He just knew the magical words to say to get my brother to come to him. So every half hour or so, while my brother was administering meds or cleaning dirty bandages or soiled patients, he would hear this old fuck screaming at him. It was like clockwork.
I'm getting up! I'm getting up!
Mitten also introduces research. Research allows you to unlock upgrades for your machines, unlock new diagnosis or treatment rooms, or generate a bunch of cash with your highly advanced medical scientists. I recommend staying in Mitten after you complete it so you can grab all of the research with your advanced researchers. Your research here will carry over to all other hospitals in the game. In the 5th hour, we are getting to hospitals that see if we have paid attention to the game mechanics. Tumble introduces natural disasters that damage all of our machines.
Great warning, that isn't your medication.
Meanwhile, we have to deal with a fracture ward that takes much longer to cure patients. This is all while we deal with previous illnesses and training a staff that is wildly incompetent until we whip them into shape over a couple of years. This is a good time to go over strategy for this game. My design philosophy is about divide and conquer. We have 2 primary methods of dealing with sickness in hospitals. We have diagnosis and treatment. So I divide the hospital up to deal with diagnosis rooms on the left and treatment rooms on the right. I put all of our general practitioner rooms on the left, along with general diagnosis, cardiogram, and fluid analysis on the right. This will minimize walking distance for patients as we try to figure out what is wrong with them. When the general practitioner figures out what is wrong with them, they are sent to the right side of the hospital for treatment. This is where all of our big money earning rooms are. The pharmacy, ward, fracture ward, and PANS lab exist. After our structural strategy is laid down, it is time to discuss staff skill strategy. As I mentioned before, the general practitioner is always the first staff member seen in every process in the hospital. He makes a diagnosis call to send them to either another diagnosis room for further investigation or a treatment room if he has figured out the patient illness. Since treatment is where we earn up to 8 to 10 times the amount of cash from a patient, we want to treat as fast as possible. This means we need general practitioners with as high a skill as possible. Each rank in general practitioner gives plus 15% to diagnosis skills. Then we make sure that our diagnosis nurses are using the highest upgraded machines, since that directly aids the general practitioner when making a treatment call. The very last thing we do is upgrade our treatment doctors and nurses' skills and their machines. This is because when a patient fails treatment, we still get the cash. And if we have a high diagnosis, it aids in the customer getting cured more often. We then scale this whole process until we are able to handle more customers than the game can throw at us. That's it for the Tumble Hospital. Flemington is where we begin to break the game using marketing. Remember all of our reputation loss from jacking up prices? It's gone. What if you build 3 injection labs but only need 1? You can make use of them all now. The power of marketing makes the game extremely fun and open.
No.
In the first objective of Flemington, they want you to research stuff like a sucker. Scam this game. Go back to Mitten and research everything up to advanced in about 4 minutes. Done. Now let's get to Flemington and start scamming some more. Just like before, we get our basic general practitioner diagnosis rooms and treatment rooms up and running. Then we produce a marketing room. We need money to expand to new plots of land, build new treatment and diagnosis rooms, and train staff quickly. So I pump up prices and make our marketing staff go full speed on increasing reputation. With enough people, our staff outproduce reputation compared to how quickly we can damage it. It's like a US presidential campaign.
terrible. That's ridiculous. Biden's done all these great things. We haven't done anything. Joke. Look, there's nobody been worse than me for president. I'm going to die right now.
With all the money of desperate and believing individuals, my hospital can charge $20,000 for saying you have a sore throat and have you coming back next flu season. Our reputation is invincible, and I rapidly expand to every plot, training all of my staff to be both propaganda mouthpieces and masters of their fields. It's like the story with my brother working at yet another southwestern hospital, where there was literally no trained staff. Everyone was in contract with the hospital and had no tenure. There was a homeless guy that was brought in with a gastrointestinal bleed. This is a very painful illness and causes death if untreated. The staff ignored him in a small wait room for 8 hours because he had lice. He was howling in pain and delusional. My brother went in there alone to treat him while all other staff went home, ate, and ignored him, hoping he would die before he gets treated. The marketing power of this hospital keeps it in business as a teaching hospital, where it does not have to maintain experienced nurses or doctors. It only matters that they have fat wads of cash to pay travel and contract staff with. This is how our hospital functions. Godspeed all of us Black Emperors. This next level took about 3 hours to finish. The Meltdowns is a power plant hospital gone wrong. It is filled with thunderstorms, earthquakes, and 2 new illness types, DNA and shock horror. So let's start this off right, by scamming the game. We research everything in Mitten quickly, then go back to Meltdowns and hire all of our staff, diagnosis and treatment. I get on training a bunch of DNA doctors quickly. I staff up my diagnostics with nurses. Then I pump the reputation with a newbie marketing team. The reason this level took so long was because my reputation got too high, and the people were crowding the corridors, and I could not scale my staff up fast enough. That and DNA diagnosis can make our doctors overwhelm the mega scan diagnostics. I was too successful was the problem. Not too much different here. Let's move on to the surgery hospital. Smogley is a surgery hospital, and it took about 3 hours to complete. Surgery takes both a doctor and nurse, and the process takes a while, but the payout can be very big. For example, this one pays out $40,000. That is an enormous payout. Smogley is also the first hospital where scale really starts to matter. We will be challenged in how we expand our general practitioners, diagnostics, and treatments. Going back to the beginning, we are going to have a slow rollout and just hire a bunch of marketing people. This is so that we can hire all the doctors and nurses with the least amount of skills. Why? Because the more skills a person has, the more they cost each month. Because of the scale this hospital demands, we have to be careful with our money in the beginning so that it does not tank our reputation so much before we can start making all of that cash back. We will go with diagnostics in the top of the hospital while treatment is below. I grab a lot of doctors for surgery and a lot of nurses to watch them perform surgery. This is our first rush to expand. I have to put treatment on another plot to make room for surgery. Our second rush to expand concerns the onslaught that diagnostics faces to get people into surgery. I have to train 2 different waves of GPs and a whole flight of radiology doctors using the Megascan diagnostic to help them. Towards the end, I have to expand again and keep pushing to hire and train surgery and nurses. I have to get 10 of them to treat enough patients to meet the 3-star goal. But we finally do meet it after almost 3 hours. Now it is on to Duckworth-upon-Bilge. This is a public insurance hospital where I cannot earn money the normal way. It truly represents the hell of modern medicine finance. Buckle up, fuckers. This hospital is usually what turns people off of 2 Point Hospital. You don't get to earn money from treating patients. You are very restricted on what you can do because money is extremely tight. And your public health objectives that earn you money are all for doing random things. The whole hospital is a satiric look at the public healthcare system. It pokes fun at hospitals that get paid money by the government for existing, instead of being paid by patients who go to the best hospitals for the best treatment. However, turning patients into customers also fuels the overprices hellscape that exists today and in the hospitals I create. TLDR, you are fucked either way. Anyways, let's get into this weird and boring level. 1. Scam the game's research. 2. Make a full research lab get you cash grants. 3. Make marketing team to fuel reputation. 4. Only recruit and build what you need for public targets. 5. Cure the number of patients needed for each star rank. 6. Get the hell out of here and to the next level. After 18 hours, I finally beat the first tropical area of 2 Point Hospital. This will mean switching out all of our radiators for air conditioners in the rooms for thermal comfort. The first hospital is Grockle Bay, which has some hilarious requirements for getting stars. Each star requirement demands that our hospital have a higher level of attractiveness, rather than caring about curing a number of patients. This is like having a hospital where there is a bunch of dead people, but they get paid lots of money because they dress up those dead people in Christmas lights and use them for decoration. Sounds like a place a necromancer would love. Anyways, this hospital is pretty easy. The third star requires 90% cure rate at the end. This can easily be brute forced by opening up a marketing campaign for ward illnesses and then opening a bunch of wards. Easy peasy zombie squeezy. This got us 3 stars. That and dressing up the patients we let die in Christmas lights. Sweaty palms is where we discover the last illness and its treatment, premature mummification. The illness comes from someone going to sleep too long. So naturally your family embalms you and wraps you up like a mummy. What is the cure? Unwrapping and draining those fluids. You'll be fine, as long as the nurse does not magically kill you. Not much else to say about getting 3 stars here. We use the same brute force marketing for a ward campaign and flood the map with wards. This gets me the high cure chance and cure percentage. Done and done. What's worse than crippling medical debt? A medical business management game that thinks clicking on things are fun in the middle of you managing your business. Blighton Hospital sucks to play. The only way to advance through the stars is by handling epidemics. You have to do this by clicking on people with a syringe if they display symptoms of the epidemic. Sometimes this is easy with Abominable Curse, where people walk like mummies, although those who are pre-mummified will trick you into thinking they are infected, and they can be. You just have to guess. On top of this, the other epidemic is Jogger's Ripple. The symptoms on this one are tricky as hell. People who walk faster like a jogger are infected. But this can be very difficult if you are playing on a faster speed of the game. If you slow it down, the normal business management sim part, the main part of the game, takes way too long to see results. This level is worse than Wilfred Brimley's children diabetes math contests. After 2 hours of hating this, I will not be finishing this level. Let's go to the next one. Are we really 26 hours into this? Damn. Pelican Wharf is a long but fun hospital. You have to get a level 5 researcher and cure 500 patients with a 90% cure rate to get 3 stars. All of these take a lot of high-level machines and high-level staff to reach. A level 5 researcher takes a very long time to reach, at about 3.5 hours of play on constant fast speed. What makes this level fun is that it really tests that you understand all of the mechanics of the game to get here. I think I have this game pretty down with my abusive scamming tactics. I go for my marketing team first, then I build my diagnostics and GP teams. Finally, we get all of our cure rooms online. Then, it is all about building 9 wards and training 18 different nurses to cure all of our patients that the marketing team brings in. The research team took a good bit of cycling through cash projects, but we nailed it. Only 2 more levels to go to finish this game. The next level is going to be pure attrition, a hell march through the hospital known as Rotting Hill that reduces everyone's happiness just for existing. This is probably the hardest hospital in the game in my opinion. Rotting Hill starts you off with negative cash, a very poor reputation, and a permanent reduction of -10% to everyone's happiness all the time. I failed this level just because I overborrowed and overhired to correct the money and reputation problems. So let's crack this hospital level open. I first needed to get some cash flow, so we start with a pharmacy and GP and a marketing team. Our reputation is such dog shit that I need to fix that first with some basic marketing staff. So I open our first campaign for that. From here, it is all about slow gains. We have to stack cash from easy cures and cheap facilities. While I do increase prices to max, I also give luxury drink and luxury snack machines to increase happiness. With our reputation repaired to normal, it's time to start building up a decent staff. I start with a hiring campaign for doctors to get GPs and treatment staff. This is going to allow us to funnel more customers into the treatment sales rooms. My high prices are especially damaging to our reputation in Rotting Hill. This is because of the minus 10% map modifier to happiness. So I have to really make sure we are treating with the minimal amount of diagnostic rooms necessary and with a lower diagnostic percentage to take a chance on a cure. To succeed in a place like Rotting Hill, we hired some of the most unethical doctors that were reminiscent of Michael Swango. Swango graduated from medical school in the 1980s and began his medical career. However, early on, colleagues noticed that his patients often died under suspicious circumstances. Despite these concerns, Swango managed to move from one hospital to another, continuing his medical practice. Swango's motivations appeared to be multifaceted, including a desire for power, attention, and financial gain. He was known to falsify his credentials and lie about his qualifications to secure prestigious positions. In some cases, he prescribed unnecessary treatments and surgeries, which not only put patients at risk, but also generated additional income for himself. His behavior was driven by a desire to climb the professional ladder quickly and earn more money, rather than ensuring the well-being of his patients. This sounds much like our doctors at Rotting Hill, and why they would want to work at such a hospital. Our horde of unethical GPs prescribe all sorts of invasive diagnostics, and then take a dart and throw it at a board to determine what treatment is right for the customer. That's what you get when we set the diagnostic percentage for treatment to 70%. Oh well, there are plenty more patients where they all come from. Afterwards, it's a matter of stacking cash and getting more cheap treatment options open. Treatment options like the ward that infects you with Clostridioides difficile or shit your brains out until you die of dehydration disease. Good thing saline injection bags are $800 a pop. Thank you, customer. Or a DNA lab that gives you methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA. This one is fun. It strips your flesh off your body like bacon from a pig. This one is sometimes incurable thanks to antibiotic resistance. Good thing being an amputee never went out of style. But if it gets in your head, oh don't worry, we still have a guillotine. Rotting Hill's difficulty is mostly in the beginning of the level. After I earn enough cash to expand treatment to another plot, we are earning tons of cash again, no matter how many people we annihilate on the path to patient treatment. First do harm, right? The game tries to throw difficulty curves with staff morale. However, you can divide the level's objectives into two different phases. First, treat the number of patients correctly with high diagnostic staff. Second, then give the staff a bunch of cash and breaks. You can conquer this level easy at this point. Let's move on to the final level. The best French dessert that I need to buy, croquembouche. Here we are at last. 35 fucking hours of 2-point hospital. So many horrors we have witnessed together. So many patients treated and suffered at our hands. But this is where all of our knowledge and abilities get tested. This level is not as hard as Rotting Hill, but it is an endurance test. Each star will demand a high cure rate and a very high number of patients cured. All the illnesses will be thrown at us. We will need every single room built in this hospital. All the diagnostics and treatment rooms. However, after saying all of that, croquembouche is just the same strategy as we have done in other levels. We get a marketing team to recruit everyone that we need, train up diagnostics, train up treatment, then build a massive force of ward-trained nurses, and then we market to the ward illnesses. Then we simply win. I know this is anticlimactic, but this means we have truly learned everything the game has to teach us. We have scammed, manipulated, exploited, and maximized every possible strength we have in the game, and it shows. It has shown for a few levels now. I truly hope you have enjoyed this Let's Play of 2-Point Hospital. It was a blast to finally beat this game and show it to you. Furthermore, I had a great time talking to you about the many medical horrors that I have heard about or seen in real life. It was fun relating them to the game. Stay healthy. Know that there are good healthcare professionals out there. But not my brother. He is terrible. Just kidding. If you like management games like this, then you should check out my Timberborn game. A game about managing a colony of beavers in the post-apocalypse. The unique thing about that game is that your resources are infinite. However, The land and time you have to manage your resources are finite, so you have to plan carefully. Anyways, I will see you all on the next one. Ave, atque, vale, mal.